help you learn how to write like a boss. We're going to go over how to use a formal tone when you're writing.
By the end of this video, the goal is that you're going to be able to identify and describe characteristics of formal writing, and that you're going to be able to use those formal word choices in order to create more professional writing of your own. So start by making sure that we don't reveal our actual age. For you guys, this is especially important. You don't want to use words like on fleek, or things like yeah and things, stuff, it, words that I even used in this video a little bit. These conversational words are not for formal writing. They're very informal. They're for hanging out with your friends or just talking to someone casually. So something you wouldn't want to say, here's the bad, quote unquote, example. So why does gymnastics even matter? I mean, isn't it really limited to a specific body type anyway? No. All right, that example was extremely informal. Beginning with the word so, saying I mean, yeah, not very strong transitions. Instead, we could say something like, gymnastics' relevance is questionable to some people, since only a select few have the physical ability to meet its demands. Much better. Not only did we cut the slang out, but we also used very specific, precise word choices that elevated the age that we seemed like we were. All right, the next step to writing with a more formal tone is synonym upgrades. This means, for example, that you might want to replace your vague, not specific words with something more precise. So let's say we're writing about a dog, and this dog is a good dog. You don't want to call the dog just a good dog. You might want to say how the dog is good. You might say, oh, that's a well-behaved dog. Or that's a really intelligent dog. Or that's a really cuddly dog. Or that's a really fluffy dog. Just make sure that you tell us how the dog is good. Replacing that word good with something that is more precise, more specific. Also, you want to make sure you avoid repetition. Even if it's a word that relates to the prompt, like if you're writing about how nature is beautiful, you wouldn't want to repeat the word beautiful over and over and over again. Either find words that have a similar meaning to replace it, or find a way to combine your thoughts together. You also might want to sound a little bit older. Remember before how we talked about not really showing your age with words like or on fleek or something like that? But you want to be careful of not going too far. If you're trying to use collegiate sounding multisyllabic words, they can backfire and make you sound pretentious. Really, what I mean by that is you might use them incorrectly, and it's going to come across as being less intelligent than you might hope for. For example, check out this meme. All right, an example of how this comes into play. Here is an informal example. Ready? It is really important that we do something about this. Our schools have a problem, and if something doesn't change, there will be a problem. Oh dear. A lot of repetition? Words like really? Oh, just not specific. Okay, let's try to revise it a bit. Let's make it a bit more formal. Ready? It is critical that schools find a solution to this crisis. The American education system is flawed, and if both administrators and taxpayers refuse to address the situation, then our country could see low test scores for several generations. Awesome. In this situation, instead of saying really important, we chose a stronger word that sums it up, critical. We also, instead of saying we need to do something, we say what that something is. We have to find a solution. Also, instead of just saying that there's another problem and repeating the word problem, we say that our system is flawed. We name the problem, and we name what needs to change exactly. Awesome. We are on track to having a more formal paper. Taking out personal pronouns. This is when that poster hanging up comes into play. Personal pronouns we use those in first and second person language. But when we want to be extremely formal, we want to use as much third person language as possible. So we don't want to say, I this, you that, I think, I believe, blah, 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 blah. No one really cares what I believe, really. Instead, they're going to trust it more if I just say it how it is. So instead of saying something like, I think that you should seriously, spend more time fixing your grammar before you hit send, I might say something like, students benefit from spending more time editing their work before submitting it. There we go. Instead of saying I think, I say it how it is. Boom. Instead of saying like in there, I also got rid of that. There we go. Wait, but what if I want to use a personal pronoun like you? What if I say something like, you should do this? Oh, no. We have alternatives. One. If one does this. We could say people, or a person, or the reader, readers, audiences, listeners, viewers. We could say middle schoolers, generations throughout the world. Anything could be stronger. Well, maybe not anything, but most things have the potential to be stronger than saying you. The only exception to this rule is if you're actually writing about yourself or you're actually talking to a specific person. Then it's completely okay to say I or you, but only then. All right, so our final step in writing with a more formal tone is going to be including formal transitions. So yeah, transitions, those are those words or those phrases that help us move between ideas, just kind of show how they're related. Well, there are basics. You guys have probably used first, second, third, next in your writing before. In addition, in conclusion, finally. But we can also use even better ones. Words like however, ultimately, therefore, moreover, instead, in comparison with. There are so many strong transitions that we can use in order to make our writing sound more cohesive, more together. So, what we don't want to do with this, though, is say, next I will tell you about, or my next point is, or as I mentioned before. So make sure instead of saying that, just say it. Next. As previously mentioned. Ultimately. This will make your writing stronger. And just as some bonus tips, avoid using contractions if possible, and avoid jargon that your audience is never going to know. And finally, don't attack anyone in your writing. When you get over-aggressive in your writing and you're calling out people, it makes you seem weak. It makes it seem like you are actually a little immature. We don't want to be immature. And some extra bonuses, things that do make you look like you're more formal and more knowledgeable, more respectful. Cite facts whenever possible. Cite them. Tell where we got them. But include quotes as well. Information from the text. This is your evidence. This shows that you know what you're talking about. It is my hope that after this, you are now on your way to writing like a boss, that you have a formal tone and you can use it. Congratulations. Let's get to work.